Like-minded programming and the chat. Love you guys.
The Charlie Kirk Show starts now.
The governor pushing to bring Turning Point USA's Club America chapters to every high school in the state. Turning Point USA CEO Erica Kirk joins me now from Helena, Montana. Erica, it's great to have you on the show. I mean, the governor spoke so proudly of what's happening in Montana and these, Club America chapters. This is a big deal. I mean, it is the fifth state now after Texas and Florida and Oklahoma and Tennessee to do this, and it is significant to have this kind of presence in Montana and these other states. What did you think of today's gathering?
It is, and it's very special because Governor Gianforte and his amazing wife, Susan, have been friends with Charlie since he was 18. So he's been with Charlie for this mission for a very long time, and he and Charlie both recognize that the best way to get civics back into the school system is through Club America, and that's a solution that he understands. That's a solution that Montana is solving, and we're so honored and proud to be working alongside him. And also we will be adding Nebraska and Indiana in the coming weeks to that list. So we have, I think, 43 left to go for our states to partner with.
One at a time. It's all you need is one at a time. You talk about when Charlie was 18. I want to play some sound. This is from Fox and Friends. This is back the last summer in July when Charlie was talking about the start of TPUSA and also how key the youth vote was. He said the following here. Watch.
Why did you call it Turning Point?
At the time, I felt as if we were kind of in a generational turning point. That was right before the re-election of Barack Obama, and I had just graduated high school. I kind of saw the liberal influences in curriculum. I grew up in the northwest suburbs of Chicago in Wheeling High School. And there I was, a young high school graduate with no money, no connections, and no idea what I was doing. I said, hey, I think we could do a better job of reaching young people. Yeah. The tables have completely flipped over the last decade, and it goes to show that this patriotic revival is being led by the youngest Americans. That should give everyone a lot of hope.
I find it interesting, Erica, because he used the phrase patriotic revival, and you can tell that that patriotic revival is underway. I mean, we have Jack Posobiec and Andrew Kolvet on our show all the time talking about this, and the numbers keep growing, and every week you think, oh, it's going to slow down, the momentum is going to slow down. It just doesn't happen. The momentum is building.
Yes, it is, and God is so good, and it's really powerful because Charlie knew that you don't just talk about the youth, you talk to the youth, and he has put us in a position where this is such an authentic and true movement. I mean, case in point, you have high schoolers, some of them that are walking out for those Ice Out walks. Our students, instead of walking out, they're holding hands in a circle around the American flag praying. There is a huge juxtaposition between what we are providing for our students rather than the other side. And so it's really powerful. And Charlie, before he was murdered, he told the team, Andrew Cipher was in that meeting, our chief field officer, he said, I want a high school chapter on 35,000 high school campuses. And Andrew's like, I don't think there's that many high schools in the country. So they looked it up. There's 27,000. So Charlie was like, okay, let's do 25,000 high school chapters. I'll give you a little bit of a delta there. But he was intentional. He knew that Club America was the future. And anyone who's watching this right now, whether you are a parent, a student, I just want to encourage you to get involved. I want you guys to be able to know that there is a place for you, and it's with Club America, and that's where my heart is at. My children are Gen Alpha. That's going to be the incoming freshman class. I also want to be able to pour into these students for them to know that in this upcoming election for midterms, it is your first time to vote, and that is very powerful. And I want these students to understand that your voice is in that ballot box. It is not with a weapon, and it's not to murder people. You need to get out there and vote and be able to understand what you're voting for. It's so, so important, and I'm just honored and blessed that Charlie entrusted not just to me, but our whole entire Turning Point USA team to carry this mission forward, because God knows this country needs it, and the only way to heal and move forward, aside from having, obviously, the Lord involved, is for Club America and our college chapters all across the country.
The Charlie Kirk Show.
Terrence Bates here with your Real America's Voice news break. We appreciate you being here with us. We want to take you straight to Capitol Hill, where Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent is back for a second day of testimony.
Let's talk about that real quick, because there's things that obviously federal policy impacts. And so an underlying cost to a lot of these key baskets of goods is the price of gasoline. What's happened in the last 12 months?
Price of gasoline is down substantially. Nationwide, and we expect it to continue going down. Also, diesel, which is an input for farmers, for truckers. So energy feeds into everything, whether it is food cost, whether it is manufacturing, and again, more supply and being on the side of the energy industry has resulted in lower prices.
And the same thing can be said about the question you got at the beginning of this testimony about groceries. Eggs is an underlying ingredient in a lot of foods. What's happened to the price of eggs in the last 12 months?
Well, the price of eggs is down substantially. The president had to wear that for a few months, and then the price of eggs collapsed thanks to a lot of measures taken by Ag under his direction. But of course, we don't hear about egg prices anymore. I will say, in my hometown, Senator Scott's hometown, I've noticed that the egg surcharge has gone off the menu in the diner we both like.
Right. So but there's some things that the federal government can't control, and we had a conversation about electricity prices. What state would you surmise, I'm not trying to quiz you here, but what would you surmise, which state has the highest cost of kilowatt hour in the country?
California has the highest cost in everything, the highest taxes, the highest homelessness, but
believe it or not, Massachusetts wins this one at 31 cents per kilowatt hour. Ohio's at 17. Well, and so a lot of that, wouldn't you agree, Mr. Secretary, that a lot of that is state policies, the policies initiated by those states?
A huge amount of state policy, and whether it's Kathy Hochul, governor of New York, blocking pipeline, whether the decision in New York, they are sitting next to the Marcellus Shale, will not allow gas in, and the pipelines to New England or down from Canada. New England has made the decision to deindustrialize. Even when I was a college student, Connecticut was a hotbed of small manufacturing.
Well, and again, let me just say, from an Ohio perspective, we're happy to provide low-cost energy to New England. Would you be surprised to know that Massachusetts also has twice the core inflation as the national average?
I wouldn't, and seeing the statistics for how many people are leaving the state, I understand why.
So, in conclusion, you'd like to see states do more of the things that states like Ohio do and less like the things that states like Massachusetts do. And the last thing we want to do is take those policies and make them national. Would you agree?
I agree, sir.
Senator Alsop-Brooks.
Well, first, I want to thank Chair Scott and Ranking Member Warren for holding today's hearing. I certainly want to say to you, Secretary Bessent, thank you for being here today to discuss our economy, which is very much on the minds of Marylanders. Before I get to my questions, I want to make a quick comment on market structure legislation. Mr. Secretary, I speak for many of my colleagues when I say that we really want to get to a good bipartisan bill. We want to get it done. And I've appreciated working with your team, both during the Genius Act and market structure process, and really appreciate their attention to the issue of stablecoin paying yield and interest. I am confident, feel really good that we are going to get a bipartisan compromise that protects innovation and our community banks. And I really encourage your continued work on that issue. Now, the 2025 FSOC report confirms that 60% of small business loans and 80% of agricultural loans come from community and regional banks. And I am very proud to be partnering with Senator Hagerty He and I have a piece of legislation to increase stability for businesses and their customers by expanding the deposit insurance available for business checking accounts. And so I joined many Maryland business owners, credit unions, and small banks who believe a targeted expansion of deposit insurance could strengthen confidence in our financial system. The first question everyone wants answered about changes to deposit insurance, and it's a valid one, is who pays for it? I'm committed to working across the aisle to make sure that we get this right. And I asked your colleagues, FDIC Chairman Travis Hill, about cost and benefits in October. And Chairman Hill testified that a targeted expansion of deposit insurance would likely not increase deposit insurance premiums on small banks, and that any increased premiums on large banks would be small or immaterial. Do you agree with Chairman Hill? And more broadly, will you explain to the committee why a targeted expansion of deposit insurance can strengthen our banking system and boost business and consumer confidence?
Senator, I want to thank you for your partnership on Genius, on Clarity. I am hopeful that we can get that across the line this spring. And I've been an outspoken advocate for small banks because they are Main Street. We've seen 50% of our small banks disappear since the great financial crisis, and I believe that is one reason Main Street has lagged, and a large part of that is overregulation. But another part of this is moral hazard, that during times of financial stress, like in March 2023, there's deposit volatility. Deposits flee banks because they believe that whether it's the 3 largest, the 7 largest banks, that there is no risk of loss. But if they stay with the community banks, and I've met personally with more than 200 community bankers, spoken to 1,000, but the 200 I've met with tell me they could have clients for 50, their families had them for 100 years, and the money goes to Wells Fargo and doesn't come back because exactly what you said, because there wasn't one business checking account that normally a payroll account. They say, I just can't lose this money. So we want, and once Wells Fargo gets it, they don't want to give it back, they offer. So, and as you get a decrease in deposits through the fractional banking system, then there is a reverse multiplier for lending. So the banks lower deposits, less lending available for Main Street. So I think that you and Senator Hagerty and I co-authored a piece in the Wall Street Journal. I think this is an extremely important piece of legislation. I would encourage your colleagues to pass it, and anything I can do to advocate for it, please let me know.
Thank you. Now, one other question here. Mr. Secretary, I want to thank you for your public support for community development financial institutions. And that said, I also echo Senator Warner's concerns about the congressionally appropriated funds being released. Maryland CDFIs include banks and credit unions that provide crucial funding for businesses, housing, and access to capital in underserved communities. So I want to specifically mention 2 CDFIs serving in Maryland that regularly participate in the Banking Enterprise Award Program, which allows them to provide credit and financial services in some of the most distressed neighborhoods in Maryland. The White House Office of Management and Budget has withheld the notice of funding availability for the BEA program since March of 2025, and that's 11 months. And so if the notice is not published, CDFI banks cannot apply for funding. So in March, you said CDFIs are a key component in supporting Main Street America. Do you still stand by this statement?
I am eagerly awaiting to have it released from OMB so that we can move it forward. As soon as it is released, we will follow our statutory duty and release to CDFIs. I'm also very happy to see CDFIs getting back to a core mission of prosperity and resilience for their community.
Thank you so much, Mr. Secretary.
Secretary Bessent, thank you for your leadership and your service to our country. You've talked many times about the ongoing burdens and effects of illegal immigration on our country as a result of the open border policies of the Biden administration. Last year, you said, quote, if you're here illegally, there's no place for you in our financial system. And you also announced that the Treasury Department would propose regulations to cut off federal benefits and tax credits to illegal aliens. And I wondered if you could give us a status update on those rules. How can we protect hardworking Americans from illegals who exploit our U.S. financial and credit system, and what are we doing about it?
Yes, sir. So we have moved forward on that. We have, through the regulators, had them double down on the KYC, know your client, and to make sure that everyone within the regulated banking system is legal. The other thing we have found out, and we saw it in Minneapolis as the hotbed of waste, fraud, and abuse, is outside of the banking system in money service businesses that a lot of money being wired out of the country, we don't know where. So this is a vulnerability we spotted in our system, and we are cracking down on that. We've also cracked down at the southern border because we've found that lots of cartels are using or money laundering there, and we've done that in a targeted basis rather than increasing cost to all banks.
Is it your sense that it's working?
Yes, sir.
And what else can we do?
Look, we are considering a re-underwriting of the clients. And again, many people are familiar with what is called a suspicious activity report, a SAR. We find that many of those come in after the horse has left the barn. So we are encouraging banks to be more proactive, know your client, and re-underwrite.
Can you give us maybe an education a little bit about why all this matters? How does it affect my dad, retired factory worker in Fort Wayne, Indiana, the cost of illegal immigrants in our financial system and the credit system? Just give us a lesson on why it matters.
Well, again, it creates instability, and it also creates, we've seen, I cited it earlier today, we've seen there's a Wharton study that shows that it increases rents for working Americans. It takes jobs. So we could think that if we look at household resilience for working Americans, they got clobbered because law of supply and demand applies that for low-wage earners, as you increase the workforce by 10, 15, 20 million in a very compressed period, then you are going to see the wage decreases.
Secretary, I wish that my parents would have had access to Trump accounts when I was born and set something like that up for me and my brothers. I mean, what a game changer that can be to help babies today, young kids today achieve the American dream, who grow up on the other side of the tracks and have something, have an option like a Trump account. I praise you and President Trump and this administration for what you've done to work with Congress to create Trump accounts. One gentleman, Brad Gerstner, who is a native Hoosier, like me, he grew up a very humble background and made it big, and now he's given back and funding Trump accounts for Hoosier kids who are born today. And I know it's going to make a big difference for the next generation of kids. One thing I worry about, though, are politicians down the road who want to regulate those accounts, or they want to put restrictions or rules that prevent those accounts from growing. What can we do to protect this great vision today to make sure that politicians later don't ruin it?
Well, I think it's two things. Mission creep, that we are committed to the lowest cost index funds, that it does not become something for social engineering, that it is return-based, low cost, broadly diversified, so that everyone owns a share of the U.S. economy. And Senator, I think the more that people become invested in these, the smaller the chance for meddling is, because I think they will be adamant.
Thank you for your leadership. I yield back.
Thank you. So for senators who wish to submit questions for the hearing record, those questions are due 1 week from today, Thursday, February 12th. Secretary Bessent, you have 45 days from that day to submit your responses to questions for the record. Thank you. The committee's adjourned.
Good. Thank you, Senator.
That was Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent back on Capitol Hill for a second straight day, talking about the economy, talking about everything from the Trump accounts that were just created to banking. We, of course, will have more coverage on this throughout the day here on Real America's Voice. But for now, let's get you back to the Charlie Kirk Show.
Sunday, February 1st, so that was late at night, 2 a.m. in the morning, Guthrie's pacemaker syncs with her Apple devices at home for the last time. Investigators believe she is taken out of range around this time, 11 a.m. Nancy fails to arrive at regular church service, a member of which calls her family. 11:10, family members arrive at her home to find it empty. 12:15, Pima County Sheriff Department receives a missing person call. Deputies respond and find Nancy's car, phone, and wallet still inside the home. Blood drops are found leading outside toward the driveway. The doorbell camera had been removed. So I think that's a really important detail there, that the doorbell camera had been removed. By Monday, Sheriff Chris Nano says he believes Nancy Guthrie was taken against her will approximately between 9:30 p.m. Saturday and 11 a.m. Sunday. So it's a pretty big window, although that pacemaker syncing with the Apple devices at 2 a.m. for the last time would probably indicate that it happened after 2 a.m. So the home is treated as a potential crime scene, and homicide detectives are involved. And now you've got all of federal law enforcement. Kristi Noem was doing some border wall visits down in the Tucson sector, so she's now been dispatched to help. Another key that I think is, a lot of people, I haven't heard people bring up, but is that Customs and Border Patrol are involved, which, again, it could just be all hands on deck.
We'll learn more.
But
certainly. We speculate on this for a reason, because it is, just to cite other examples, is here in Phoenix, we've also seen a surge in we saw, especially during the Biden years, we saw the surge in international burglary rings.
Yep.
We saw international fencing rings, as it were. People would steal cars up in Scottsdale, and they would be in Mexico in 6 hours, and you're never going to see them again after that. There's an internationalization of crime in the United States that is entirely downstream of the fact that we have had a totally open border for so long. And we hope this isn't a manifestation of that, but at least in my opinion, it's hard for me to not immediately think of those kidnappings for ransom that have happened so often in Latin America. If you follow pro sports, a real thing is pro athletes who came from Venezuela or from the Dominican Republic, places like that, they have to worry about their family members getting kidnapped because they know they have a rich relative in the United States.
Yeah, it's a real problem. And you think about Savannah Guthrie, obviously on the Today Show, huge celebrity, and she just has this 80 octogenarian mother out kind of in the outskirts of Tucson, sitting or living seemingly alone. It was interesting. My mother's reaction to this was that, I'm not sure I would want my 80-plus-year-old mom to be living out alone. And I was like, well, but she's independent. She should have every right to do that.
You would never think about civilization is the ability for the weak, the elderly, the vulnerable to live in safety. And
yes, that's a great point.
That steadily goes away if you do not uphold civilization.
Well, it's interesting, too. We're going to have Senator Rick Scott on next in the next segment. And, Florida is a place where you mentioned Venezuelans, you mentioned all of this Latin American community that is gathered in Miami and South Florida. And they love it there because civilization, law and order, because they actually have a government that means business and isn't going to let crooks run the streets. Anyways, here's the video of Savannah Guthrie and her sister and her brother-in-law addressing the ransom note rumors, and they speak directly to their mom, Nancy. 465.
We, too, have heard the reports about a ransom letter in the media. As a family, we are doing everything that we can. We are ready to talk. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen. Mommy, if you are hearing this, you are a strong woman. You are God's precious daughter, Nancy. We believe and know that even in this valley, He is with you. Everyone is looking for you, Mommy, everywhere. We love you, Mom.
Oof. Yeah, that's really touching stuff. I've heard it for the first time on the drive into the office, and it's emotional stuff. There's no doubt. And I think, God, goodness, I think everything we've lived through too makes it harder for some reason because, just these high profile cases where you're forced to sort of be strong in a public sense like that. It's excruciating stuff. And so our hearts and prayers are with Savannah Guthrie and her family, and with Nancy, her mom. We pray that she's okay. And so the couple more clips here. This is Christy Nome saying DHS is assisting with the search for Nancy Guthrie, 466.
They have asked us to help with some of our K-9 teams, and CBP has partnered with the other agencies involved, but we're all just heartsick about this and hope she's found soon and that she's found safely, and that we can get to the bottom of what really happened.
And it looks like the search for Nancy has picked up back up at Guthrie's house. So I don't know if they're sweeping for more details here or more clues. 464.
The Sheriff's Department announced yesterday that they had cleared the crime scene at Nancy Guthrie's home and handed it back to the Guthrie family. Well, just a short time ago, a whole bunch of sheriff's deputies showed up there, along with Border Patrol agents, with dogs, and members of the FBI. And they put the tape back around that house, sealing it off. And we believe that there is a search ongoing in part of the area around the back of that property right now. We don't know exactly what they're all looking for, but certainly there is suddenly very intense activity back at Nancy Guthrie's house.
So that's an interesting thing where they clear the house, they give it back to the family, and then they move back in and tape it all off. So interesting. I want to show this image, though, kind of back to your earlier point. 492, this is a pic of a map of Tucson's proximity to the border and corresponding border wall, 492 here. So if you look at this map, the red portions of it are finished wall, a new border wall from President Trump. Orange are older border wall. Yellow is like vehicle fence. Green is damaged border wall. So it's a pretty, stretches into New Mexico. A lot of that land where there isn't border wall is either very second priority border wall area, very remote, or it's mountainous. But I do believe the plan is to complete it all the way through. So just something to keep in mind as we talk about that story. Rick Scott joins us next.
At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch Season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAVANGEL to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAVANGEL to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
This is Giselle Chaffin. I'm from North Carolina. I'd like to let you know that RAV News is the best news. Number one news. Truth seekers seek to find the truth. It'll set you free.
Hi, my name's Paul Foyer. I'm Foyer04 in the Getter Chat. I love RAV for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
Hey y'all, it's Nancy from Texas. Real America's Voice gives us truth, not propaganda, and we need that. Thank you so much.
International disputes, inflation, rising national debt, digital currency. There's a never-ending list of reasons why gold has risen over 700% in the last 20 years, and there's also a never-ending list of reasons why smart Americans are diversifying a portion of their savings into precious metals with the Birch Gold Group. More than any other commodity on earth, gold thrives during times of uncertainty, and that's why it's a crucial part of a balanced strategy. It gives you peace of mind given all the events that could impact the U.S. economy. See if holding gold in a tax-sheltered retirement account is right for you as well. The Birch Gold Group can help you convert an existing IRA or a 401k into an IRA in gold. All you have to do is text the word America to the number 989898 and receive your free information kit on gold. There's no obligation here, simply useful information. With an A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau and tens of thousands of satisfied customers, allow the Birch Gold Group to help you diversify with gold. Make sure that you have peace of mind regardless of the uncertainty around you. Simply text the word America to the number 989898. Again, text America to the number 989898. Back to this Real America's Voice news break. I'm Terrence Bates. President Trump will not be at the Super Bowl this coming Sunday, but his NBC interview with Tom Lamas will be televised on the championship game's pre-show coverage. Here's part of what you'll hear Sunday.
JD is fantastic, and Marco is fantastic.
How are they
both
different?
doing a
How are they
great
different?
job. And I do think this. It's a great question. I think that's your most interesting question. Yeah. I would say one is slightly more diplomatic than the other. I think they're both of very high intelligence. I think there's a difference in style. You know, you can see the style yourself, but they're both very capable. I do think the combination of JD and Marco would be very hard to be beaten, I think. But you never know in politics, right?
The president also turning heads for his True Social post in support of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie and her family as police continue to search for her missing 84-year-old mother, Nancy. Taking to True Social, 47 writing, I am directing all federal law enforcement to be at the family's and local law enforcement's complete disposal immediately. That's a quick check of your headlines.
Fire for the preservation of our nation. The Charlie Kirk Show.
All right, we're about to be joined by Senator Rick Scott from the great state of Florida. First, I want to tell you about our friends over at Strong Cell. Keep hearing, you guys are buying this stuff up by the caseload here. It's just fantastic. StrongCell.com. Charlie loved this product. I love this product. I take this product. So if you have brain fog, fatigue, chronic illness that you're not sure what the cause of it is, you want to check it out. Strong Cell, completely risk-free, 90-day money-back guarantee. You can do that right now. And if you use promo code Charlie at checkout, you can save 20%. And why do you want to do that? Because Strong Cell has developed a proprietary delivery of an amazing enzyme called NADH. NADH. It is the power source for every cell in your body. So if you are, like I said, feeling fatigue, if you're anything like that, brain fog especially, this will help you, in my opinion. Okay, I have to sort of say that, but I really do think it will help you. Amazing, amazing supplement. And again, I can't remember all the times being on the road, Charlie, we get asked about this product. It really is a special product. Take it for 4 to 6 weeks. You're going to see tremendous gains from this. Again, strongcell.com delivers NADH. That's what makes it so special. Power source for everybody. 90-day money-back guarantee, so you can try it without any risk. Go to strongcell.com, promo code Charlie, save 20% at checkout. All right, Senator Rick Scott, I got to start with a question here that I did not prep you for, but we were just covering the Savannah Guthrie. Her mom, Nancy, has been abducted in Tucson, Arizona. And it reminded me of a lot of conversations Blake here had with Charlie. Charlie mentioned it on the show a couple times that when you have an open border, you're going to have a rise in these abductions because it's very South American. It's very Mexican, like it's a cultural phenomenon in south of the border. Now, you are a senator and formerly the governor of the state of Florida, where you have a lot of Latin Americans, a lot of Venezuelans, Cubans. You know, is this something that you see there? Now, to be fair, we don't know who did this, but is this something that you guys have to wrestle with in Florida, just with the types of populations that have moved in?
Well, I mean, we're always cautious, but we have great sheriff's departments. Great police departments. We don't have sanctuary cities in Florida, and we've got tough enforcement laws. So, if you're convicted in Florida, you have to serve 85% of your sentence. And so, I saw something on CNN a couple of years ago, and they said, "Oh yeah, we don't commit a crime in Florida because they put you in jail. We just go down there to party." Yeah. And I think what's happened around our country is people know where to commit the crimes. They know where to go. No, we don't have. First off, you're right. A lot of the kidnappings, it's sort of common in Latin America, and the nice thing is to come to our state. We don't have it. We got a lot of water between us in that, so we haven't had the same issues that they've had in some other places. And I think the other thing, we're not a sanctuary city, and we have tough enforcement laws.
Yeah. Well, our hearts and prayers are with the Guthrie family. It's really just a terrible story. And it's their video they released is just heartbreaking. And so we are praying for Nancy Guthrie that she would be reunited with her family. Hopefully she's safe and well. I want to turn our attention, Senator, to the SAVE Act. Now, there was a clip yesterday. I believe our team is pulling it. I'm not sure if we have it yet. We do. So this is Leader Thune, and he's talking about the pushback that he's getting from Democrats on the SAVE Act in the Senate 495.
Their political base is demanding they fight with anything that President Trump wants. It is Trump derangement syndrome. It is on steroids around here these days. And even logical, commonsensical things like ensuring that if you're going to vote in an American election, you ought to be an American citizen, they're going to just instinctively oppose. So that's what we're up against.
So no mention there, Senator, of, maybe the getting rid of the zombie filibuster, as Senator Lee has called it. There's no talk of putting it in a reconciliation bill. Did not inspire a lot of confidence for me. The floor is yours. What's the status of this highly popular policy?
Well, we're going to get it passed. I don't know how we're going to get it done, but Senator Mike Lee and I are focused on this every day. A lot of our friends in the House are focused on this. You have to have an ID to go on an airplane. You ought to have an ID to vote. You should be able to register to vote if you can't prove your citizenship. Can't vote. I mean, I can't vote. I wouldn't vote for Macron in France or Starmer in the UK, but I don't get to vote for him. So you can get to vote here if you're illegal. We have to use the talking filibuster. It's not changing the rules. It's enforcing the rules. It's just saying if you want to stop, if you want to slow down the process, you can go talk. But this idea that you don't have to talk and we have to wait for 60 votes to show up is wrong. So we're gonna keep talking about it. You saw the president posted about it last night. That if the Democrats want to slow something down, you're going to have to talk on the floor. But we have got to get things passed that are good for this country. We've got to we've got to secure a border. We got to get Homeland Security funded. We got to get ICE funded. We've got to pass the Save America Act. There's a lot of things like that. And if we if the Democrats are not going to work with us, then we have to use the talking filibuster to get it done.
Yeah, so let's go into what the talking filibuster is. And we had Senator Lee kind of when he first floated this idea on the show talking about it.
It sounds pretty straightforward.
Yeah, but take a step back. We think of 60 votes to break cloture it's kind of like we just assume you need 60 votes to do anything in the Senate. That's not really true. Obviously, we have reconciliation, but when you actually look at the history, it started in like 1917 when they really kind of started using this, but it was used very sparingly. But in our modern era, we just think 60 votes. You got to have 60 votes. And basically, in our divided world, we can't get 60 votes on anything. Explain to the audience what it's like in the Senate. What's the workaround? How do you get this done? Is there support to get rid of this zombie filibuster? The floor is yours, sir.
Well, number one, if this is important to you, you need to call your senator and let them know that the Save America Act or any other bill you think is important has to get passed, and you've got to use the talking filibuster to get it done. So all we're going to do is require the Democrats to do what they should do. The filibuster was simply a decision by the Senate to say, okay, at some period of time, we're going to stop talking and we're going to vote. Right? I think Clarence Thomas got 2 votes. All right. So, but they didn't use the filibuster process to prevent him from ever having a vote. So the bottom line is that we've got to do our job. If we want to talk, if you want to go talk, have at it. But when you're done talking, we are going to vote. And it's going to take 50 votes plus the vice president to pass legislation or pass noms. That's what we have to do. Now, the noms we've already changed because the Democrats wouldn't block everything. And this is just, they don't want Trump to get anything done. They want, right now they want to shut down the government. They don't want a good economy. So we have to do this. And by the way, if we want to save this country, we've got to make sure people feel comfortable that our elections are fair. Just the concept that you don't have to show your ID to vote is foreign. Americans believe it. Republicans, Democrats, we all believe you have to do this. And so that's what we're going to get this done. I'm going to keep fighting. I know Senator Lee's going to keep fighting to get this done. The president is on board, right? He knows we have to use the talking filibuster to get his agenda done.
So that's your word to the audience, is that this will get done. Do you believe that Senator Thune is ready for that type of battle?
Well, we haven't done it yet. So I tell everybody the way I think D.C. works is until it happened, be hopeful, but take action. So what I would do is I would call everybody, every senator, and say, look, you have got to get the Save America Act passed. If you can't get Democrats, which they're not going to help us, then you've got to do it through the talking filibuster. And we can. Is it a pain? It's a pain in the rear, right? But so what? This is a full-time job that we ought to be busting about every day for the American people. This is a very important piece of legislation that's going to save this country.
Yeah, I completely agree. But by the way, it's just massively popular. This is the wild thing. Even Democrats' own voters support it. It's worth reiterating. Let's play the clip again. Even by the way, Black Americans voted. This is their big pushback. It's Jim Crow 2.0, 355.
Take a look here. Favorite photo ID to vote. 85% of white people favor it. 82% of Latino. 76% of Black Americans favor it. So the bottom line is this. Voter ID is not controversial in this country. A photo ID to vote is not controversial in this country. It is not controversial by party, and it is not controversial by race. The vast majority of Americans agree with Nicki Minaj that, in fact, you should have a photo ID to be able to vote.
So something of a non.
So, I guess they're just going with, Black people and married women are too dumb to get voter ID, and, Republicans are racist.
They want fraud. Andrew, you're being too nice. The Democrats know they can't win with their policies. They want fraud to win. That's
I love it when you tell me I'm being too nice. This is great. Yes, continue. I totally agree. The only explanation is they want to cheat. That's the only thing that's it.
That's the only explanation.
By the way, kill the zombie filibuster and make them go on the floor and actually defend the indefensible. Make them do it.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. And look, they want to defund ICE. Okay, they don't care about the American public. Look, think about it. How could you want to defund ICE when you have stories of Laken Riley or Jocelyn Ngari or Rachel Moran, or you hear the stories of these little girls being raped, and then you're saying you don't want ICE to have the ability to get rid of these criminals? This is the craziest thing in the world.
No, and Senator, I mean, listen, again, I just want to reiterate, out of abundance of caution, we do not know who abducted Nancy Guthrie. We don't. But
no, we don't.
If we find out that it was cartel related, or if it was, people that shouldn't be in this country, it's going to add a really important wrinkle to this. Really quick question for you, Senator, on the DHS funding. Where do we stand?
Nowhere. I mean, they're not getting funded. I mean, this is. I mean, the Democrats, they want to shut down this stuff. They want to destroy the Trump presidency. They don't care about all the crime that comes in this country. They don't care. I mean, the Democrats are in for open borders with criminals and gangs. They're all okay with that. Look, there's some wonderful people who want to come in this country, come in legally, as we have a process for that, and we can improve that. But no, the Democrats will not fund ICE. Their proposals make no sense, right? So they don't ask local law enforcement to do these things. Why are they asking ICE to do it?
Senator, listen, we've got Leader Thune. He's the leader of the majority in the Senate. We backed you to be leader. And so I'm just going to hang our hat on your assurance that you're going to get this done, because I believe it is existential to getting the SAVE Act passed for the future of this country. We had Coach Tuberville on saying that the republic as we know it could be over if we don't get election integrity, basic measures like an ID. Thank you for fighting. We're going to take your word to the bank, and we believe you can do it. Get the SAVE Act passed.
We're going to fight every day.
We'll be right back.
At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead, scan the QR code now.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAVAngel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAVAngel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
All right, I want to tell you about our friends over at YRefi. If you've been watching the show for any amount of time, you will have heard me talk about YRefi because we are all in with YRefi. And you think about it, the mission is perfect. We talk to students on college campuses over at Turning Point, and it's students that when they get their little piece of paper that doesn't get them a job, but they're struggling under the debt of the college cabal, Private student loan debt in this country is over $300 billion, and $45 billion of that is labeled as distress. So these students, they spend all this money, Blake, to get degrees that don't matter for jobs they can't get, that are probably going to be taken by AI and robots. It's very, very bleak for some of these young people. YRefi can help you. Call them, 888-YREFI34, or log on at YREFI.com. Quick 3-minute rate check with zero impact on your credit. They don't really actually care about your credit if you have bad credit, so don't let that stop you. May not be available in all 50 states, but if it is, you're going to want to talk to them because they will give you a custom amount for your monthly payment that you can meet. That's the key. So they're going to work with you individually to get you the amount that you can actually make the payment on. So go to YREFI.com, 888-YREFI34. Check it out today. Amazing Patriots. They love students that are struggling with their debt. They care about you. So that's the key. All right, we got the Olympics.
They don't love the struggling with the debt. They love helping
whatever
you.
I said,
Yes.
I said the right.
The Olympics. Well, we have to talk about the Olympics because, among other things, Charlie loved the Olympics. 494.
Some of my best memories growing up were watching the Olympics and cheering for the country I loved. I'm a sucker for the Olympics. What it should be, Jack, is an appreciation of excellence and people that really harness their craft and what country is able to achieve that excellence collectively, if you will, in the best way. And I mean collectively in the most non-communistic, non-Kamala Harris way possible.
Charlie loved the Olympics.
He loved the Olympics. He loved all things that like were America competing for America. He even loved the World Cup, which I always hated on because I hate soccer and I don't want soccer to become...
Trump is very excited about the World Cup.
He is. He loved to compete. I didn't like the World Cup because I'm like, it's soccer. We can't allow soccer to get a foothold in America. And if we won the World Cup, that would let it happen. But,
well, I will tell you, the one bit of soccer that I enjoy watching is the World Cup. I can't help it.
Don't do this.
Because I'm like Charlie. I want America to win. Vice President Vance has been arriving. He's in Milan to greet the Team USA 470. Yeah,
it's B-roll.
B-roll works. 470. You also got the whole Vance family is arriving in Italy. 471. You can keep just going through some of this stuff. They posed for a photo with Team USA. By the way, I saw the clips of JD with the Olympians, and legitimately, he seems the most excited I've seen him in a long time. Like, excuse me, like legitimately geeking out on being with them and the way he was talking about them. But of course, there is some controversy. Apparently, it was called the Ice House.
They're mad that they call it the Ice House because it's winter, but then now ice is a bad word. We can't have that.
Yeah, so they had to change it to the Winter House.
Oh boy,
which is just very cringe.
But there's an even more revealing thing, and I think it shows how we really have not defeated the woke abomination that's been around forever. It's still lurking, always wants to jump back. This is an Associated Press news report on the extremely pressing fact that Sweden has sent a Winter Olympics team to the Winter Olympics, and they are too Swedish. 463.
Immigration from Africa and the Middle East is changing the demographics of Europe's top winter sports countries, but that hasn't really translated to their largely white rosters heading to the Milan Cortina Winter Olympics. For instance, Team Sweden is almost entirely made up of ethnically Swedish athletes, which is hardly a reflection of the country's diversity, as Sweden has welcomed historic numbers of asylum seekers in recent decades. Experts also believe that more needs to be done by winter sports to improve accessibility, specifically for immigrants and underserved communities.
Experts. What experts?
That's the dumbest
experts
video I've seen in a long time.
Experts in what?
So I did not see that.
Experts say more needs to be done to improve accessibility.
So what's hilarious about this? Okay, you get immigrants from Africa. I'm just asking questions here. Is there a lot of snow in Africa? I guess there's Mount Kilimanjaro.
I think.
But is that like full of like bobsleds and ski resorts?
I've not heard about that.
So do you think immigrants, refugees from warmer climates moving to Sweden are going to be good skiers? Do you think they're going to be good ice skaters? Do you think they're going to be good curling curlers? Is there a lot of curling in Africa that I am unaware of in the Middle East? That is the dumbest video I have seen in a really long time.
It's so bad.
Experts weigh in.
Experts.
And it's too ethnically Swedish.
The experts aren't remaining silent, Andrew. The experts are saying a thing.
This is so dumb. Like, think about how dumb this is. I'm literally, okay, we have a lot of dumb stuff in America. We have Jasmine Crockett. We have Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. We have Ilhan Omar. We've got dumb for days. That was truly one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
That was stupid. That was really stupid.
Okay. So, sorry, the team says I missed some stuff that I need to play on this Ice House story. So we're going to revisit. The Ice House, that is now the Winter House. This is Amber Glenn, figure skater on Team USA, changing the name of the Olympic venue from Ice House to Winter House. 490.
If something as simple as changing a name can do anything to make someone feel more comfortable, it's really unfortunate that the term ice has an ice skating. Like, I'm here on this sheet of ice and saying that, it's kind of like, disheartening that something so negative has taken that name from us. But that is something so minute in comparison to the struggles and the atrocities that people are facing back home. And my hearts are really with the people back in the U.S.
Your hearts.
Atrocities?
Her hearts are with them. Okay, so that Sweden video was the dumbest thing I'd seen in a long time. That actually might be dumber. So in the words of the great Laura Ingraham, shut up and dribble. Okay, I will root for you. I will root for you, Team USA, but now I'm going to do it through grit teeth. I'm going to do it through begrudgingly, because now I know how dumb some of you are. Just shut up and dribble. Shut up and skate. Nobody stole the word ice from you. They're saving American lives. You should say thank you. God bless our law enforcement officers. And, thanks for your service. That's what you say. And you don't do that. Whatever that was, Amber Glenn, dear Lord. Okay. We're gonna pivot into hour two. So a lot of you emailed us about Jay Beecher on Epstein yesterday. We have the great Mike Benz, who's going to add some additional content. Blake's going to love it. On Jeffrey Epstein. You're not going to miss it. 1 hour with Mike Benz.
At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAVAngel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAVAngel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.
Bates here with your Real America's Voice news break. Thanks so much for being here with us. President Trump will not be at the Super Bowl this coming Sunday, but his NBC interview with Tom Lamas will be televised on the championship game's pre-show coverage. Here's just part of what you can expect on Sunday.
JD is fantastic, and Marco is fantastic.
How are they
both
different?
doing a great job. And I do think this. It's a great question. I think that's your most interesting question. Yeah. I would say one is slightly more diplomatic than the other. I think they're both of very high intelligence. I think there's a difference in style. You know, you can see the style yourself, but they're both very capable. I do think the combination of JD and Marco would be very hard to be beaten, I think. But you never know in politics, right?
The president also turning heads for his Truth Social post in support of Today Show host Savannah Guthrie and her family as police continue to search for her missing 84-year-old mother, Nancy. Taking to Truth Social 47 writing, I am directing all federal law enforcement to be at the family's and local law enforcement's complete disposal immediately. We are deploying all resources to get her mother home safely. The Guthrie family is also pleading for help from the public and offering this message directly to whoever might have Nancy.
We too have heard the reports about a ransom letter in the media. As a family, we are doing everything that we can. We are ready to talk. However, we live in a world where voices and images are easily manipulated. We need to know, without a doubt, that she is alive and that you have her. We want to hear from you, and we are ready to listen. Please reach out to us. Mommy, if you are hearing this, you are a strong woman. You are God's precious daughter, Nancy. We believe and know that even in this valley, He is with you. Everyone is looking for you, Mommy, everywhere. We will not rest. Your children will not rest until we are together again.
The Pima County Sheriff's Office in Tucson, Arizona has a news conference scheduled for right about now. We will monitor it for you and update you if there is new information. Well, the Winter Olympics opening ceremony gets underway tomorrow in Milan, Italy. Vice President J.D. Vance and his family, they are already there, and they've been meeting with members of Team USA and encouraging them this morning.
You can tell by the ratings from the Olympics. You can tell by the fact that it really brings the country together. Everybody is rooting for you guys, and everybody's cheering for you. We're so excited to be here. This has been the highlight of my time as vice president, to get to come to bring my family to root for the Olympic team. But let me just say personally, like I'm amazed by the combination of excellence, sacrifice, and so I hope that you guys enjoy it because, you know, this moment, think about this, guys. This moment is born of a lot of sacrifices from you, from your your families, from coaches, from teammates, from people who've made it possible to be here. I hope you just soak it all in. I hope you win as many medals as possible. Most of all, I just hope you enjoy the experience. The whole country, Democrat, Republican, Independent, we're all rooting for you, and we're cheering for you, and we're going to make us proud. So thank you all, and hope you guys have fun.
The vice president is set to watch the U.S. women's hockey team take on Czechia, or what most of us still refer to as the Czech Republic. The country's current second in charge is following in the footsteps of his predecessors, Joe Biden in 2010 and Mike Pence in 2018, by visiting the Winter Olympics. Former Vice President Kamala Harris didn't attend the 2022 Winter Olympics in Beijing because the Biden administration launched a diplomatic boycott of those games over human rights concerns in China. By the way, Secretary of State Marco Rubio is also on hand in Italy for this weekend's or the next couple of weeks of events. That's going to do it for your headlines. We appreciate you being here with us. Now, let's get you back to your regularly scheduled programming. This darn fly.
At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAV.
Hour 2 of the Charlie Kirk Show is underway, and I am very excited about this conversation with the great Mike Benz here at the Bitcoin.com studio. Mike Benz he just had a tour de force on Joe Rogan, 3 hours with the great Joe Rogan, all about Epstein, so much to get into. We, of course, had Jay Beecher on the show yesterday. I loved that interview. I actually think it was a sobering kind of analysis of 6 years of investigative journalism. But Mike Benz has different insights. He's seeing different things, and I want to make sure that we approximate the truth here by getting Mike Benz's insights in the mix. So without further ado, Mike, welcome back to the show. It's great to have you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, well, I was talking to you a bit offline. The reason I wanted to have you on is because there is so much to the Epstein dump. There's 3 million documents. It's impossible for
just
one voice.
The most recent one.
Yeah, to get the whole scope of what's happening here. And you've been making headlines here. We've got clips from your Rogan interview that we're going to play. You made a lot of news. In general, just let's start at the beginning. What do you think that we learned from this? Has it added contours to your understanding? The floor is yours.
Oh, an unbelievable amount has been turned up in this. I guess the way I describe it is it's shocking but not surprising. I don't think there's anything in here that has surprised me, but it still is very shocking to see the details laid out. And it also confirms, in my view, essentially from almost every angle, the way that I've tried to prescribe people to view Epstein in context, to sort of understand the Epstein cinematic universe beyond a lot of the kind of simple, easy to grasp onto things, or the things that he was arrested for. In my view, understanding the character of Epstein helps understand the world around you and the role that he played, because there's a little visage of Epstein in almost every industry, every government, every intelligence service, every private investment fund. And so, what we're getting are to know something for a fact versus to have a constellation of circumstantial evidence is a very different thing. Many of the allegations around Epstein until this point involved highly compelling circumstantial evidence. But so much that has turned up in these files has just been, what you'd call in an evidentiary proceeding, a direct evidence. That is, it's not, we think that he was talking to X or Y because he talked to 13 of his associates and there's a rumor going around and someone said that he did. Now, you have a direct email, or you have a direct a direct audio file that says X or Y. We can get into all the specifics of what all those things are, because there's frankly 3 million of them. But I can either turn to that, or if you guys want to go in a different direction, I'll leave it to you.
So I'll be honest. One of the things that I was challenging Jay Beecher, a phenomenal interview. I encourage everybody to go watch it and listen to it. But one of the things that I just couldn't shake was this sense that I've had that he was an intel asset, or he was working with CIA, with Mossad, whatever. And he seemed to be thinking that, those claims had been overblown. Yeah, why would he work with Mossad if he could just call Ehud Barak? Or why, he was involved, but it was softer. It was more kind of veiled in business transactions or whatever. I just couldn't shake it, and I kept pushing him on that. And I've seen that you've kind of been going into this. There's this email, Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine's Maxwell, apparently threatened Mossad, and you've kind of gone into some of this. But there's so much there, and I just want to let you make those connections if they're there, if it's true, because I feel that there's got to be a there.
Well, I was laughing because when you said I couldn't help shake the feeling, I thought, well, you don't say. I mean, this is a bad week to be a Epstein intelligence denialist. I'll give you some. We'll start with the U.S. side of it. One of the things that turned up in these documents that I, again, shocked but not surprised, is Epstein FOIA'd the Central Intelligence Agency twice for records about himself. First in 1999 and then again in 2011. Now, Andrew, Blake, have you ever FOIA'd the CIA to see what any CIA records about yourself it has?
That wouldn't even occur to me to contemplate that as an option.
I guess, but I'm also not a billionaire either, or a centimillionaire.
Okay. Well, would you request for any, quote, open or acknowledged agency affiliations?
So that was, okay, just so I'm understanding, Mike, this is in 1990, did you say 1991 or 2001?
1999. This is 2 years before he became a public figure.
Right, okay.
At that point, he was still a private citizen, not publicly known, not written about in the mainstream news. It wasn't until 2001 and 2002 when he began flying the most recent president of the United States, Bill Clinton, around in Africa on his private jet that the media started to take interest in him. So he was still basically a private operative who basically 2 years before he became a public figure first asked the CIA if there were any open or acknowledged links, agency affiliations. What's also interesting is the CIA, we actually don't have exactly what he asked the CIA, even though I think we should, and I know that we are entitled to it. And now I'm happy to report that after I made a bit of a crusade about this, multiple people have now filed FOIAs to the CIA to get Jeffrey Epstein's correspondence with the CIA, which is not classified because FOIA requests at the CIA are not. Now, the CIA is obviously not allowed to tell you, by virtue of it being a spy agency, any classified records that it has. But, for example, it can send you declassified records, or if the CIA has acknowledged any links to a particular individual, it can send you the records on those. But what's interesting about that CIA letter is it says, with respect to your request about open or acknowledged links, we have conducted that. We grant the request for documents. We have searched for documents. No documents are responsive to that. With respect to the portion of your FOIA request that touched on classified matters, we can neither confirm nor deny the existence or non-existence of such documents, which means that Jeffrey Epstein not only asked for open and acknowledged agency links, but also asked something about himself that was classified. Now, for what it's worth, that is the same stock response you get when you ask the CIA for CIA personnel files.
That is so he's not yet a public person, and he FOIAs the CIA, the Central Intelligence Agency, asking for what it has on him, basically.
Yes.
And we don't know exactly how he stated his question or what he included in that, but we do know that it touched on classified documents because the CIA's response was, regarding that specific line of questioning, we can neither confirm nor deny. That is really shocking, actually. That's a bombshell.
And what's very exciting is unless the law is not followed and the Justice Department does not come down on the agency for not following the law, if it doesn't follow it, we are legally entitled to actually see the correspondence between because they left in the Epstein files, and none of this was known until last week, that again in 1999 and then again in 2011 sent an identical request. And now this is before, again, the 2019 rearrest.
Mike,
but there's a case reference number, so we know they have the files.
Yeah, got to take a quick break. We're going to be right back with Mike Benz. Don't go anywhere.
At Real America's Voice, we know that you want to be a part of something bigger. That's why we've teamed up with AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, to build a real community of folks who care about faith and our country's future.
There is no force on earth that can stop us from saving our country.
Want to be a part of this movement? It's easy. Just scan the QR code on your screen right now. That's right. Grab your phone and scan the QR code to join the AMAC and Real America's Voice family today. By scanning the QR code, you'll unlock exclusive content, connect with like-minded Americans, and be first in line for events that celebrate our shared values. So don't wait. Scan the QR code. Join us today and become part of a community that stands for faith, family, and freedom.
Real rights, they come from God.
With AMAC and Real America's Voice. Go ahead. Scan the QR code now.
This holiday season, Real America's Voice is proud to partner with our friends at Angel Studios for a special giveaway you won't want to miss. As they launch Season 2 of their hit series Homestead, we're giving you the chance to win an exclusive Homestead hat absolutely free. Everyone who becomes an Angel Guild member using our link is automatically entered to the contest. When you join, you're supporting meaningful pro-American storytelling, and you're supporting RAV at the same time. Scan the QR code on your screen right now, or text the word RAVAngel to 75802. After you scan or text, make sure you follow the steps provided. When you complete the steps and join the Angel Guild, you'll be automatically entered to win that exclusive Homestead hat, a perfect holiday gift for yourself or someone you love.
Be one of the first 50 people to sign up and win a hat automatically. Hurry while there's still time.
So scan that QR code or text RAVAngel to 75802. Happy holidays from all of us at RAV.
This is Giselle Chaffin. I'm from North Carolina. I'd like to let you know that RAV News is the best news. Number one news. Truth seekers seek to find the truth. It'll set you free.
Hi, my name's Paul Foyer. I'm Foyer04 in the Getter Chat. I love rap for all the Getter, all the War Room Posse, and all of you guys. Love y'all. Bye.
Hey y'all, it's Nancy from Texas. Real America's Voice gives us truth, not propaganda, and we need that. Thank you so much.
Folks, more with Mike Benz in just 1 second, but I want to tell you about Y-Refi. You've probably heard me talk about Y-Refi now on this show for some time. We are all in with these guys, all in, because they actually care about you, especially if you find yourself in a situation where you have private student loan debt. Take my advice, give them a call. Maybe you're behind on your payments. Maybe you're even in default. You do not have to live in that nightmare anymore. They will provide you. Y-Refi will provide you with a custom payment based on your ability to pay. They tailor each loan individually, and they can save you thousands of dollars and get your life back. That's the truth. They can give you your life back. We go to campuses all the time over at Turning Point USA. We see student after student who's drowning in private student loan debt. Many of them don't even know how much they owe. That's a fact, by the way. You can go any of our events and say, hey, how much student loan debt do you have? And they don't even know. So that's not a good situation there. Just go to yrefi.com. That's the letter Y, then refi. So YREFY.com. And remember, Y-Refi doesn't care what your credit score is. Just go to yrefi.com and tell them your friend Andrew sent you here at the Charlie Kirk Show. Love those guys. All right, Mike Benz, I have a co-host here. Blake was, I could see his mind thinking. He went to Dartmouth. He's a very smart guy.
I know Mike. Mike and I go way back. We've sparred over his theories on a lot of things. Yeah, Blake takes on a lot. Blake was not all about.
Blake had an incredulous look on his face. So I'm going to throw it to Blake. What were you thinking, Blake?
Well, I guess I'm just thinking. It strikes me as innately implausible that that the reveal that Jeffrey Epstein is an intelligence asset is that he FOIA'd himself at the CIA. I guess I would ask,
why would he do that?
Why would he do that? If the CIA needed to hide anything, why would they get outed by their legalistic response to a FOIA request? I think there's a lot of ways they could get around that. I find it highly unlikely.
Okay, it was done through the Privacy Act, meaning there was no public alert. We only know about this because it's in the FBI file. This is a way, if you go through the Privacy Act, you can see what records there that are publicly searchable about you without it being revealed to the public, so that you can see what other people would get if they were to do that same FOIA. In theory, anyone could do a FOIA about Jeffrey Epstein, but if you do it through the Privacy Act, you get it, and you get it alone, and it's kept as a private correspondence between you and your lawyer.
That's smart, Mike.
That's how it's done.
So, I learned this yesterday. I know this is public information, but it's one of those pieces of the Epstein saga that people forget, that he was arrested either in the late 80s or early 90s, and his partner went to prison for it. Anyway, I'm just saying,
he skated free. You're talking about the Towers financial collapse.
Yes.
Which at the time was the biggest Ponzi scheme, effectively in U.S. history at that time. But Epstein is a Where's Waldo figure. I make the argument that Epstein's intelligence adjacency started in 1978, 1979. I mean, there's kind of a Forrest Gump story around this. When he worked at Bear Stearns was one of the top 3 largest clearinghouses of the BCCI Bank. That was the CIA's bank. They went down in flames in 1990 when Bill Barr effectively covered it up. He wrote the pardons for the 6 BCCI officials. That's the Bank of Credit and Commerce International. That was the CIA's bank for laundering basically gun and drug money to the Mujahideen in Afghanistan. And you have to understand, in 1979, the Iranian Revolution happened, at the very moment that the CIA was at its weakest because of the church committee hearings and the Halloween massacre, and the CIA was setting up a complex offshore intelligence web. It was through a network that's called the Safari Club, the Mount Kenya Safari Club, that was run by Adnan Khashoggi, the largest arms dealer in the world, who was the Saudi middleman between the U.S. and Israel during the Iran-Contra affair. Adnan Khashoggi was Jeffrey Epstein's client when he started Intercontinental Assets Group in 1981 after the SEC investigation of him at Bear Stearns for handling Edgar Bronfman's money on a deal involving St. Joe's Mineral Company. That and Edgar Bronfman was, played a very senior role in policy. He was the head of the oh my gosh, I don't know, I'm blanking on the name, but it's he was the head of a major international Jewish advocacy group that played an effective kind of shadow State Department role in many aspects of the Iran war. The Reagan administration had this Iran-Contra operation that involved effectively the U.S. and Brits getting guns to Iran to fend off Iraq and doing it through Israel with Saudi Arabia as the middleman. And it's at this time while Bear Stearns is laundering money effectively in a CIA gun running operation. You have to keep in mind also there was an international arms embargo on Iran at the time, so that was illegal to do. And I find the Nicaragua side of that, the gun running to the Nicaraguans with the skim, interesting because Jeffrey Epstein had a very lurid history in South American affairs. For example, when Ghislaine Maxwell was asked by Todd Blanche in her DOJ interview last year to give an example of Jeffrey Epstein's business transactions, she could only think of one example to illustrate it, and that was imagine if the Sinaloa cartel was owed money by the Los Zetas cartel or a rival cartel, and they needed a way to trace the assets of the other cartel to get the money back. They would hire Jeffrey, and Jeffrey would take a 10% cut, a 5 to 10% cut of the money. I just find that interesting because we're only 13 years removed, 14 years removed or so from the Fast and Furious operation, when the Obama White House greenlit an operation to run guns to the Sinaloa cartel so that they could win a gang war against the Los Zetas, who were cutting into effectively U.S. pipeline interests in Mexico. But the fact is you need to explain how Jeffrey Epstein, before the age of 30, had so many high-profile clients stretching from the Middle East to France to the UK to these high-level contacts in Israel that make sense given the fundamental constraints on someone who's 29, 30 years old from handling, being competent enough to handle billionaires' money. And the fact is the fact that he worked on those deals, the fact that he was flying back and forth cross-country to visit Doug Leese at that time, who was the main British arms dealer involved in Iran-Contra. The fact that he was living at the time with Stanley Pottinger, who was the CIA's mop-up man, who literally also got investigated by the FBI for running those same guns to Iran, but then the case was magically dropped when the FBI said the audio recordings that they had on him malfunctioned. It's his whole career.
Yeah, I'm riveted right here. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Mike Benz.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie.
Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent.
It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
There was a cover-up.
Why would we trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy.
It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly.
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/Rav to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Patriots, it's time to gear up. Real America's Voice has an entire lineup of merch made just for you.
We got some Rav fans out here.
We watch you every day.
From mugs that start your morning strong to hoodies, hats, t-shirts, pants, vests, flags, and so much more.
Yeah, I noticed it. I mean, that caught my eye big time.
Every piece lets you wear your pride loud and clear. This isn't just merch, it's a movement. When you shop Rav, you're showing the world you're proud to be part of the Real America's Voice family.
God bless Real America's Voice.
So don't wait. Scan the QR code right now or visit realamericasvoice.launchcart.store to shop today.
Thank you, Real America's Voice, for doing true journalism.
Stand tall, be bold, be proud. Represent your voice with Real America's Voice.
It's good to have a real news network out there, so I'm a big fan.
Use code RAVSWAG10 for 10% off.
Real America's Voice rocks.
My name is Tina, and I'm in Dallas, Texas. I'm so grateful to be able to get my news from an organization like Real America's Voice.
Welcome back to this Real America's Voice news break. I'm Terrence Bates. The man convicted of trying to assassinate President Trump while the commander-in-chief played golf in Florida will spend the rest of his life in prison. The 59-year-old would-be assassin was found guilty on all charges back in September and unsuccessfully tried to stab himself after the verdict was returned. He was sentenced to life in prison on Wednesday, along with a consecutive 7-year sentence for one of his gun convictions. Maintaining or even extending the current Republican majority in the upcoming midterm elections likely is going to be a bit more difficult. It's all thanks to the Supreme Court's ruling on Wednesday allowing California to use a voter-approved congressional map which favors Democrats. No justices dissented, allowing the map to be implemented this coming November. In a previous ruling, the justices also allowed Texas's Republican-friendly map to be used this year, despite a lower court ruling calling the redrawn voting districts discriminatory. The Winter Olympics opening ceremony set to get underway tomorrow in Milan, Italy. Vice President J.D. Vance and his family are already there meeting with members of Team USA.
You can tell by the ratings from the Olympics. You can tell by the fact that it really brings the country together. Everybody is rooting for you guys and everybody's cheering for you. We're so excited to be here. This has been the highlight of my time as vice president, to get to come, to bring my family, to root for the Olympic team. But let me just say personally, I'm amazed by the combination of excellence, sacrifice, and so I hope that you guys enjoy it because, you know, this moment, think about this, guys. This moment is born of a lot of sacrifices from you, from your families, from coaches, from teammates, from people who've made it possible to be here. I hope you just soak it all in. I hope you win as many medals as possible. Most of all, I just hope you enjoy the experience. The whole country, Democrat, Republican, Independent, we're all rooting for you and we're cheering for you and we're going to make us proud. So thank you all and hope you guys have fun.
The vice president, by the way, set to watch the U.S. women's hockey team take on Czechia, or what most of us still refer to as the Czech Republic. Good luck to that team. That's going to do it for your headlines. I'm Terrence Bates.
office to the car, the bullhorn to the microphone. It's the Charlie Kirk Show.
All right, folks, America's turning 250 this year. It's one of the reasons why we're so excited to have the All-American Halftime Show, by the way, because this is a year to celebrate America and the people who build it. That's what Good Ranchers, our friends over at Good Ranchers, are all about. They are backing American farmers and ranchers that raise your meat that you eat every day. So if you want to support American ranchers, you got to support Good Ranchers. That's the only people that they're working with, American ranchers and farmers who work tirelessly to feed America through, and they've done it through every kind of storm. They've done it through Great Depressions. They've done it through droughts, wars, recessions, all in between. And Good Ranchers is 100% committed to America, not just in words, but in practice, from the cuts that they offer to the final seal on the box that you get delivered to your home. So this year, celebrate America by celebrating America's ranchers. Support them, put your money behind them, and put your money behind Good Ranchers, who stuck with us through all kinds of storms. So go to goodranchers.com, goodranchers.com, and put the code Charlie. That's Charlie in the code box there. Goodranchers.com. Subscribe for if you subscribe for boxes to come to your house, you will save up to $500 in a year. I'm a subscriber. I love it. Got to check out the chicken nuggets, the seed oil free chicken nuggets, and you'll get an additional $25 off your first order if you use our promo code Charlie over at goodranchers.com. All right, so Mike, summing up, I mean, your mind is like it's you just like have this incredible ability to capture all of these connections. It's truly, truly amazing. And so if I'm going to sum up what you were getting at, and I was taking notes, I was trying to track each piece. You only FOIA yourself at the CIA if you've got a lot of reason to believe that they've either got stuff on you, they've got personnel files on you, whatever. When you've got all the smoke, there's got to be fire with all these connections. All these connections are Iran, Nicaragua, whatever. All these relationships, it has to mean something. This can't just be pure coincidence. He wasn't just like a good party boy that liked to hang out with Prince Andrew. Like, there's more going on here. So you were touching on the American side. Are there connections that you would draw with Mossad or Israeli intelligence? What about Russian intelligence?
Well, absolutely, and these are all linked. So, as I mentioned, Jeffrey Epstein was handling the money for the CIA's point person between the U.S. and Israel in 1983, when Adnan Khashoggi, Epstein's client, flies to Washington, D.C. to meet with Robert McFarlane, the national security advisor, to plan this operation. And that itself would be something I would think the crucial middleman, who's also rumored at the time to be the world's richest person and who earned more in Adnan Khashoggi.
Oh, okay. This is, of course. Yes, of course. Yeah.
So, but the point is at that point, that was a coordination between American intelligence and Israeli intelligence. Who was running Israeli military intelligence at that time from 1983 to 1985? It was Ehud Barak. Ehud Barak, even before this week's drop, had been documented something like 47 times at Jeffrey Epstein's house, and were business partners on Carbine 911 and did business deals together in everywhere from Mongolia to Cote d'Ivoire to Ehud Barak seeking Jeffrey Epstein's counsel for how to evade sanctions on Russia after the 2014 Crimea affair. But the fact is what these new revelations show is a much, much deeper and complete overlap for many years between Epstein and Barak in a way that is really interesting. I'll give you an example. One of the things that surfaced here and that I blew up, I think it's sitting at about 6.5 million views right now, is Jeffrey Epstein secretly recording Ehud Barak during a 3-hour conversation they had while Ehud Barak was the sitting Minister of Defense. Now understand, Ehud Barak went from running Israel's most elite covert commando unit to running Israeli military intelligence to becoming the prime minister of Israel, who Mossad reports directly to. Mossad is structured to sit in the prime minister's office, effectively, answers directly to. And so it's not structured quite the same way as our CIA.
Sure.
And then Ehud Barak became effectively the equivalent of the head of our Pentagon, which means constant coordination with Mossad. But it's also more, he's more closely affiliated with Amman, which is Israeli military intelligence. And the fact that he was the head of it, and this is also how you see Epstein so involved in the arms trade, both in the U.S., Israel, Saudi Arabia, the U.K., and always working with these arms dealers. But what I'm getting at is, in this conversation, Ehud Barak is one month before he leaves office as the head of Israel's military, and he's looking to make it big in the private sector. So Epstein records, under the table, I guess, the FBI has a 3-hour recording of this, a 3-hour coaching session where Jeffrey Epstein instructs Ehud Barak on how to convert his lifetime of accumulated government power into getting rich on the outside within private business. And what he tells Ehud Barak is, stop focusing on your skills, your military background and the things you've accomplished. That's not going to get you money. That's not why people are going to pay you. What you need to do is compile a list of people who owe you something. IOUs. Think people who owe you favors. Yeah. Now is the time to call in those favors. And what I find so fascinating about this is, one, on the one hand, someone who's worked in these kind of Israeli military and intelligence adjacent networks for 40 years is now literally helping that person cash in on the outside. But it also shows a kind of the mercenary aspect of Epstein's operation. He was secretly recording the head of the Israeli military, not the other way around, which I just think is kind of an interesting, But isn't that a point kind of against some of this? I guess it seems like so much of the argument that he's running this masterful blackmail ring, or is part of all this intel stuff, is presumably that stuff would be well hidden, and yet so much of this is actually quite public, somewhat glaring. And then once we also start digging out stuff that was originally hidden, it doesn't seem to produce that much of a smoking gun. I mean, Ehud Barak, he gets attacked by, the first person to basically bring this to public light as a big deal is Benjamin Netanyahu. He attacks him about it in Israeli politics. In fact, I think they're attacking him about it right now because they say, I guess some of the conversations, they say Epstein was kind of a liberal and he wanted to make Israel more liberal and all of that. Right. But I mean, every country has got, heterodox political factionalism. The U.S. as well as, a change in leadership or a change in what faction of our CIA is dominant can determine whether or not a foreign country's government lives or dies. I mean, the fact is when Biden's in control of the CIA, you get things like the government of Brazil turns over. When Trump becomes head of the government, suddenly the CIA U.S. aid operations in Hungary stop. And so there is a similar thing in Israel in terms of whether or not you have an Ehud Barak or a Benjamin Netanyahu government. What's interesting in these files is it describes how hard it was for them to even get a meeting with Netanyahu. And you see Ehud Barak actually playing a not as significant role in the Biden world. He was closely affiliated with the West Exec faction. If you guys remember that in-between period when the Hillary Clinton folks were out of power, but before Biden got in, basically every major person in the cabinet was a part of a private consulting group called West Exec. It had Avril Haines, Anthony Blinken, pretty much all of the people who would populate the cabinet. And they worked very closely with Ehud Barak. I believe he even funded them or hired them for private consulting type things. But what you see is it is true that a foreign country's spy apparatus or covert influence apparatus does have an effect on American politics. I don't think it's wrong in any sense to call that out. I think that it has been silly to try to deny any links between Epstein and Israel. It's all over the place for his whole career. But the fact is this class of person, a outside financial fixer, is while they are affiliated with governments, there is also a on again, off again, only if it's good for me type relationship that happens. Like, I don't think Epstein, I would not be surprised if Epstein sent those FOIAs, not because he worked at or for CIA, but that he occasionally worked with CIA when it was profitable for himself and his partner network. And he wanted to know if that adjacency might turn up in a public record search. Well, same thing with his connections with Israel. Yeah. He certainly worked with high-level Israeli intelligence and military figures. That doesn't mean he gets a paycheck from it necessarily. There are these affinity networks where you yourself can get rich by doing a favor for people in government. I believe that's likely the case with Epstein, both in the U.S. and in Israel, and likely, when you look at the UK and French and Saudi webs, it looks like at a much less involved level, there's a there too. Well, it makes perfect sense to me that he was worried that it would be public information, especially as he became more famous, and he kind of probably had an inkling that he was getting more and more high profile, that he wanted to check to see what was publicly available. If somebody else could find this out about him, about what the CIA had scooped up on him. I mean, if he's an intel operative, why would he have to make the application himself? Well, because he's probably understood. Well, you do it. Well, let me just correct that. He did it through his lawyer using the Privacy Act, which is the way you do that if you want to effectively anonymously see what other people would see if they had filed that FOIA. Okay, but he's also apparently he's like an intel asset. I feel like this is kind of weird cheat code stuff. No, careful. Reveal. You got to be precise with your language. Okay, there is a difference between an asset and a contact, and this is very important. I've done lectures on 20 different figures in recent American history who were CIA contacts, facilitators, logistical support nodes, but that do not rise to the level of asset. Asset is a technical term that requires the compilation of a 201 personality file. That is, if you are a formal asset. But Epstein could have done all of this with intelligence, appears to have done it with U.S. intelligence, but only on an off and on basis, not as the CIA told me to do it, therefore Mike, I have to do it. Sorry, I got to just take a quick break. Loving the back and forth. We'll be right back.
To this Real America's Voice News Break. I'm Terrence Bates. We want to take you back to the nation's capital, where CPAC is having a discussion about narco-terrorism. Our colleague here at Real America's Voice, Javier Negre, is one of the speakers. Let's listen in as it looks like the guests are beginning to make their way onto the stage.
We have to go. ¿Cómo estás? Good. How are you? Yeah, I'm going to sit here, and then you guys are going to all sit right around here. I think they're all going to. I'm waiting for Javier. Where's Javier? Are my other guys coming out? Están conversando aquí atrás. Hello. Okay, esto para mí es un tema personal because, first of all, I think I've known Armando almost my whole life. I'm not kidding you. He would ask me very tough questions when I was at the White House. And then Javier, I've gotten to know so well, and we're a big fan of the work that he does as he's bringing truth to these regions across the globe and really helping to shape elections and let the truth come out, which I think is great. Jorge, conversé con usted anteriormente, y Carlos, mucho gusto. Okay, let's get started. So, principalmente quiero hablar sobre la prensa. Como sabemos, la prensa ha cambiado en una forma que sea, en algunos momentos es como propaganda. Y esto cómo está impactando a la política y en este tema de cómo están cubriendo el tema del narcoterrorismo. So, quiero empezar con usted, Carlos. Dime, ¿cómo ves la cobertura en estos temas de narcotraficantes? ¿Cómo está haciendo la prensa?
Es muy fácil. El gobierno federal tiene cooptado todos los medios abiertos. les paga una fortuna en publicidad, pero fortuna. Con ese pago de fortuna a los medios abiertos deciden qué comentarista se queda, qué comentarista no se queda.
Esto en México.
Sí, ya te hablo fácil. En 7 años y medio, fácil. 35, 40 periodistas o comentaristas ya están afuera.
Wow.
El nuevo medio...
¿Esto ha pasado durante la época de Sheinbaum o anteriormente? De los dos. Okay.
Y son Sheinbaum y López Obrador es la misma.
La misma persona.
Sí, la misma porque...
Lo que uno es más feo que la otra, pero bueno.
¿Quién sabe? Eso es número 1. Número 2, hay 3 canales de oposición en televisión digital. Latinos con Carlos Loret de Mola, Ramón Alberto en Monterrey, Ramón Alberto Garza con Código Magenta y Atypical TV, que soy yo. Y entre los 3, sin ponernos de acuerdo, somos muy críticos, tremendamente críticos contra este gobierno y no permitimos que las mentiras de Claudia Sheinbaum en sus mañaneras se hagan realidad.
Ok, déjame preguntar, Jorge, tienes su programa donde están hablando de seguridad nacional y hablando de este tema de narcoterrorismo por mucho tiempo. ¿Por qué empezaste a hacer esto como tu tema principal?
Bueno, llevamos, gracias por la invitación. Llevamos muchos años trabajando este tema, llevamos 14, 15 libros publicados sobre el tema y llevamos 17 haciendo el programa. Cuando comenzamos a tratar temas de seguridad nacional, no gustaba. Fue de seguridad, narcotráfico y eso, no gustaba que hiciéramos ese programa en la propia televisora, ¿no? Nos decían que era riesgoso, que no tenía mucho sentido. Con el tiempo se fue transformando en un programa de referencia en términos de seguridad. Y en un programa de referencia donde hay que cuidar, decía Carlos, y decía bien que hay muchos medios abyectos, hay muchos periodistas abyectos, pero también hay que decir que hay muchos periodistas muy valientes. Muy valientes en México. Muchos periodistas que hacen investigación, que hacen columnismo, que manejan sus opiniones. Perdón, pero hoy la oposición en México es el periodismo. No son los partidos políticos. Hay políticos muy respetables, algunos están aquí, pero como partidos tienen mucho menos protagonismo que el que tienen ciertos medios, ciertos periodistas y mucha menos influencia. Y en el tema de seguridad, con Viviana, que está aquí, hacemos juntos el programa y además aprovechó para casarse conmigo. Entonces tenemos...
¿Fue una buena decisión? Ay, qué bueno. No sé si mañana, pero hoy sí.
Pero entonces hay que ser muy cuidadosos. Hacemos muchos reportajes, pero en temas de seguridad hay que ser muy cuidadosos. Hay que elegir a dónde se va.
You've been watching CPAC's conversation about narco-terrorism. Our colleague here at RAV from RAV Español, Javier Negre, is part of this conversation. You can go to our various social media channels, be it Getter, Rumble, YouTube. Log in and you can hear what's being said here with translation. That again on our various social media platforms. Make sure you also tune in to RAV Español. All right, let's get you back to your regular scheduled programming.
Milo's ever offensively blackmailed someone with that, but I can see when you are a high net worth or highly influential public figure, and you, in case anyone comes after you, you have something on them, but that doesn't mean it's like some highly organized. He did that, for example, with the head of the Israeli military. Do you think that? He was under the table recording him for 3 hours.
Well, do you think that he was? Yeah, exactly. So the question is, if he wasn't motivated by blackmailing or honeypots or whatever. What was he motivated by? We have 3 minutes left. Mike, I could talk to you for hours and hours. So
there's a million reasons. He's gotten in trouble his whole life. I mean, when he was 27 years old, he got in trouble at Bear Stearns, both on the SEC thing and another intra-office thing. He may have had a bad experience where someone tried to blackmail him, and he goes, I wish I had recorded that thing because they were doing dirty stuff too, and then made a practice of it. And then when the more property he owned, he just had everything hooked up. That's a hard thing to substantiate, given that this guy who's got 100,000 high-level people in his Rolodex, not a single one after his death, after he couldn't even drop the blackmail, has even made an allegation that Epstein tried to blackmail. So there's no open leads on it, and there's an entire cinematic universe that is very useful for understanding the modern day. As you pointed out, the censorship industrial complex is structured the same way the Epstein network is, the same way intelligence work is. The data points to mine here in terms of what we can understand about our own government, what we can understand about our relationship with foreign governments, how to understand New York hedge funds and the role that they exert, or high finance or London banks exert. There's a whole world to see in the Epstein looking glass, and I think that's primarily my focus. People are free to
I think
search for whatever they want.
Right. I think you're super right. I'm convinced there's just too much smoke there to not be a little bit of fire, even if it's not as sensational as some would make it. I was pushing back with Jay because I felt like there was something.
I would close out with my closing thought here would be I feel like for years, I mean, Epstein died almost 7 years ago at this point. It's crazy how long it's been, but it seems like, I know you've pushed back on this, but the widespread assumption is, this had to all be explained as part of a big blackmail ring, and that would justify the intelligence connections. But as you point out, nobody's made a blackmail allegation. Nobody talked about it being blackmail. It turns out there kind of is no blackmail, because if no one's alleging it and there's no evidence of it, it seems to have not happened. And at that point, like, you pull on the thread and there's so many interlocking assumptions. He was doing blackmail. What would he do blackmail with? It was these underage girls, so he would get compromise on people. But we don't have examples of that being used. I feel
Mike,
like
we can go over
there's so many interlocking assumptions.
Yeah, we can go over
that I find questionable.
We can go over a little bit here for podcast and stream. It's too important. I want to make sure we finish this. I got to say goodbye to our Real America's Voice team. Go ahead. 15 seconds.
People latched onto that, what Blake just said, because they didn't understand all of this. And there was no other way for most normie civilians to even understand the Epstein operation. And that's my concern, is that all of that momentum was all built up because nobody was saying all of this with a large platform. And so that became the only explanation, even though, in my view, there's not much of a there.
Mike, give us a few more minutes on the other side of the break. Real America's Voice, we'll see you tomorrow.
Welcome to Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Your quick look at the powerful stories of faith and freedom, inspiring audiences across the nation. Angel Studios presents.
I'm Bo Davidson with your Real America's Voice, Real Minute. Did you ever wonder what truly happened in the COVID-19 pandemic and whether Anthony Fauci would ever be held accountable? I think we all have. Filmmaker Jenner First has an upcoming documentary that searches for truth, transparency, and accountability called Thank You, Dr. Fauci.
Governments lie. Anthony Fauci put everyone on the planet at risk without their consent. It's beyond suspicious.
Research caused a pandemic, killed 20 million, and cost $25 trillion. Fauci would prefer a lie.
Public trust, national health, and global security are at stake as this documentary digs through thousands of pages of documents and interviews with former officials and whistleblowers in the most controversial narrative of our time that may also be one of the largest cover-ups in modern public health history.
It was a cover. Why would he trade the Chinese the most advanced biotechnology in the world?
He's a spy.
It's insane.
I don't think this is going to be foolproof. Things are going to slip through.
Fauci knew and lied repeatedly
Rather than being a partisan hit piece, Thank You, Dr. Fauci is an honest look at the origins of COVID-19 and a potential bioarms race with China. It streams exclusively on Angel Studios app and site starting on October 23rd. And all you need to do is go to angel.com/Rav to stream it. So be ready to watch, question, and share as the quest for truth and accountability continues.
Patriots, it's time to gear up. Real America's Voice has an entire lineup of merch made just for you.
We got some.
America's Voice is growing, and now it's all in one place. Introducing the new and improved RAV app, built for access, community, and choice, not paywalls. Here's the key. RAV is still free to watch. No sign-in, no membership required. Your favorite live streams, breaking coverage, and video on demand are all right there. Free, just like always.
For the War Room Posse, we have to be a force multiplier on this. We have to stick the landing.
In the White House, in the Oval Office, you're crushing it, my friend.
And if you want more, the members section is your backstage pass. Get exclusive behind-the-scenes photos and videos, insider moments from the studio and the field, and early access to new content before it goes public. Members can also unlock special experiences like virtual meet and greets, member-only auctions, and select event access, plus commercial-free viewing of certain shows inside the app. It's not just an app, it's a community. Download the RAV app today. Find it in the App Store and Google Play.